Hi, my name is Chantal. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make a Haitian meal called maïs moulin avec légumes d'origine. Here we have the ingredients you would need to make the meal. Starting with your cornmeal, salt and pepper, carrots, garlic, 2 large-sized eggplants, a quarter of a cabbage, olive oil, beef broth, seasoned salt and onion powder, spinach, and to top our meal, we're using beef and crab today, although you can choose to use just beef or just crab, or neither, and just use the vegetables. I'm going to use both beef and crab legs in the dish. So let's start with that, since it's best to marinate it the night before. In my marinade here, I have my beef cubes. You could cut it yourself or get it pre-cubed, crab legs, and which I marinate in salt, pepper, seasoned salt, onion flakes, garlic, and lemon juice. Put a little bit of water in it to cover the meat and let it sit in your refrigerator up to 24 hours in advance. Now that we have our seasoned meat, let's take it over to the stove and get it going. First, in your pan, you want to add a little bit of olive oil. And then we're going to go ahead and add our seasoned meat and beef all together. Of course, if you're choosing just to use vegetables, you can skip this part. We want to put the temperature on a medium high. We have the beef and the crab legs in the pan. Add a little beef stock in with all the juices of your marinade, and we're going to let it simmer to a cook. Okay, so now while this is cooking, we're going to go over and cut our vegetables. Here we are with the vegetables. I'm going to start preparing them. Starting with the eggplant, we just want to peel it and dice it into small pieces. So we just get the skin off of it here. So we'll use 2 eggplants in this dish, and you simply remove the skin and then dice them into small pieces. So I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, and then cut each piece in half again, and then each one more time in half before cross-cutting it. Then just chop them into small pieces. The eggplant is really going to get cooked down and mashed up, so you want to make it easier on yourself. Again, each piece in half, and then I make some small dices by cross-cutting. Okay, so the eggplant is ready. I'm going to put it in my bowl here, and we'll move on to the cabbage. Our next vegetable is the cabbage. We don't need a whole lot, about 20 to 25% of a head of cabbage, average size, because you don't want to put too much in the dish. It will overpower the other vegetables. And we're just going to cut it into small pieces. Now I'll just add the cut cabbage to our eggplant over here in a bowl. Going to the next vegetable, the carrots. I have baby carrots here, but full-size carrots are just fine. And we're just going to cut them into small pieces. Now I'm just going to throw these in here with the rest of the vegetables. The last vegetable is our spinach. I already have them in the bowl, washed, and that's pretty much all the prep work you need for the spinach. Let's check on what we have on the stove already. Okay, let's check in on our meat here. Ooh, looks good. It's coming to a boil, and we want the meat to be fully cooked before adding our vegetables. So we're going to give this a quick stir. Most likely your crab legs will get done first, and it's fine to take those out and let the meat get brown. So I'm just stirring these around a little bit. If you find you need more water, add some stock or water to make sure that your meat is fully cooked first before adding the vegetables. Okay, we're going to cover this back up to speed things along. Now we'll prepare the cornmeal. First step, we got to wash it. Good. So I've poured our cornmeal into a bowl. We're going to give it a wash simply by adding some water. And what this does is, anything we don't want in there will float to the top, and simply by pouring the water out, we'll get rid of that debris. Now our cornmeal is washed and we're ready to go. Here's our washed cornmeal. I'm going to put it into the pot. What I have here is some boiling water, a little bit of salt and garlic and olive oil, and then we'll wait till it comes to a boil before adding the corn. Since it does take a little bit to cook, I'm stirring it and I'm keeping an eye on it to make sure it doesn't burn, but you really want to keep it stirring, checking every so often to see if it's cooked. Now let's check in on our beef. Oh, looks real good. Looks cooked. What we want to do is remove the crab legs and the beef from the pan so we can add the vegetables. We don't want the meat to be overcooked and falling apart. So we're going to take these out and then throw the vegetables right in here. Okay, now that we got all the crab legs out, I'm going to take the beef and put it in here as well. What we want to do is avoid overcooking the meat and all the juices that we've gotten from the crab legs and the beef. Now I'm going to get my bowl with the vegetables and put them in here. Now I'm going to add the vegetables into this water. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but you got to remember that vegetables will sweat and produce a lot of water on their own. This will help with them with the cooking process. Okay. All in, all at once. So I'm going to just put all the spinach in here as well. And now I'm going to cover it to speed up the cooking process. We're going to let that sit for a bit. Let's check in on our cornmeal. All right. Just remember to keep stirring it because you don't want it to burn. I got it on the lowest set temperature now. So we're going to give it a little taste. Not quite ready yet. So we're going to let that cook for a little bit longer. Let the vegetables get going here. And we'll come back in a few minutes to check on things. Okay, so let's look at our vegetables. Oh, yes. This is looking very good. This is what we want it to look like. The eggplant is breaking down and we're mashing it into the sauce here. And at this point, what we want to do is put the crab and the beef back into the dish. So let's go ahead and add them back in. This way, they're going to warm back up. The meat will cook completely through. Just going to make sure that the meat is in the sauce. Cover it back up and lower the temperature. I think that everything is done now. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, this is the consistency we want. Cornmeal is done. Woo, yep, look at the legume. Our water has reduced. The meat is thoroughly cooked and the vegetables are nice and mashed and soft. That's exactly how we want it. Now we're going to plate it. Okay, now everything's ready, so we're just going to plate it. Got my cornmeal here that I'm going to use as my base. There we go. Looking good. And then I'm just going to add some crab legs, some of the beef cubes, and the legume. Now that looks really good. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen to cook my moulin avec légumes berry jeunes, my favorite. Happy cooking!